So I'm back, people. Welcome back to Relationship Cake and Ice Cream. And this is your host, Robin. And today, my topic is marriage works. How to make a marriage work if you want it to work. So let me get started. I'm going to touch on some topics related to marriage from my book, Seven Ways to Destroy a Marriage. Let me start out by saying marriage is when two people come together to share their lives with each other, share their dreams, their desires, their goals. Those two people that get married are the foundation of the family. Let me say it again. Those two people that get married are the foundation of the family. So, right there is very important that those two people have cohesiveness, agreements, and let me say, in order for a marriage to work, it's going to have to be some compromise, some give and take, compassion, forgiveness, love. Okay, those are just some of the things, the ingredients for a marriage to work. Now, in the beginning, when two people get married, usually they're caught up in love, um, how they feel. It's a feeling, how they feel. You feel euphoric. You feel happy that you're with this person. This person makes you feel good about yourself. Okay, you have that rush, that adrenaline rush. Every time you think about them, you're getting butterflies. Then you touch them, it makes you feel good. So when you go into the marriage, most people have not thought about what's going to happen when they get to the other side of that thing called the wedding, the union. They haven't thought about how they're going to live together and make this union work. So when they go into the marriage, they go in there usually unaware that they're going to have challenges in dealing with the marriage. There are going to be challenges. Okay. You may find out he got habits you don't like. She got habits he doesn't like. You may find out that you don't like the way she dressed. She don't like the way you talk. He may not want to help out. When you're cooking, cleaning, he might not give you the attention you desire. You might not give him the space he need to be with his boys. There's a lot of things that once you get married, you might find out you don't like about each other. You may not cook like his mother. You may not want to be in the kitchen every day cooking at all. That might be an expectation he has about marriage. Maybe he saw his mother do that, or maybe that's an idealism that he has. Okay, that you're gonna cook every day. Maybe you think that he's gonna take out the garbage on a regular basis. Whatever it is, these stereotypes are created before we even get married. We have created these stereotypes in our mind of what a relationship is going to look like. And usually, let's just keep it real, it never is the way that we think it is. Never. Our relationships never are how we think they are. So, this is the time, really, before marriage, is the time that you need to discuss the things that's important to you. But since most of us, even me, did not do that before we get married, we're stuck in a marriage struggling to keep it together because now we have to deal with real life. The euphoria, the attention that we have just on each other, that's gone. Now we got to deal with things like finances, housekeeping. We got to deal with things like intimacy. He might want more intimacy than you. You might want intimacy. He wants sex. You don't want sex, you want intimacy. It's a struggle. You're struggling. You're trying to find that common ground where you both can be happy. Sometimes you can agree, come to a middle ground where everything works out smooth. A lot of times it doesn't. A lot of women find themselves not wanting sex as much as their husband may want sex. That's the area that creates a lot of friction in marriages. Money creates frictions in marriage. You don't have enough of it, then you're struggling to pay the bills. If you have too much of it, one of you might be a spendthrift and you're out there spending it all up, buying things you really don't need, gambling, all kind of things. Okay, that creates problems in relationship. If you have children, that's the real challenge, having children, because now you have to not only focus on the relationship you have with each other, but now you got to figure out where these children fit in to your relationship. It's going to take some of your time away from the time you spend with each other. Okay, that's a whole nother challenge. So let's talk about this thing we call marriage, and let's see how we can make it work. So let me start with, when I got married, I had no idea what the title being a wife meant. I had no idea. My mother wasn't married. I had never seen her in a marriage relationship. My grandmother was married. She was on her second husband. We all lived together. My grandfather, he worked long hours, 12 hours a day. I think from like 8 in the morning to 8 at night is when he got off. So I rarely seen them in a home together interacting. When he was home, I would see him in the kitchen cooking. He did a lot of the cooking in the house when he was home. Okay. So I really never saw them be intimate. Like I never saw them really kiss. I might have seen it one time, maybe. This house seldom it was because I don't even remember it. Okay. I never seen them holding hands. Only know that they had pet names for each other. I know he called my grandmother Honey. I never heard her call him anything but what his name was, which was Paul. Okay, so um, that's how I saw that relationship. I never saw my mother with a man romantically at all, never. So when I got married, being a wife was, I guess, something I imagined in my mind. And one of the things I remember when I was younger, my husband used to always say that I cook meat and water. Because he used to say like I didn't put any seasonings, no onions, no peppers, no anything, because I really didn't grow up in the kitchen. That was another thing. I didn't grow up cooking like a lot of women start cooking when they little girls in the kitchen. They in there with their mother and whatnot. My mother worked. She was really in the kitchen. Like I said, my grandfather did most of the cooking. My grandmother, I rarely saw my mother cooking anything in the kitchen. So when I got married, I wasn't this great cook. That's something that I learned over time. Thank God for my husband's patience and the fact that he knew a little bit about cooking. So he would give me little tips to do to cook. And thank God for a lady I call my second mother, because I would call her on the phone and ask her how to make certain dishes, and then I would just keep trying it until I perfected it. Okay, so these are some of the things that you have to face. And the same thing goes for your husband. When he gets married, he might not understand what being a husband is. Maybe you need him, to be with you in a certain type of way. A lot of times, men, they still have these special relationships with their friends. So a lot of times they bring their friends into their marriage as like a third wheel. Okay, and they want their wife to accept that too. You might find you home and the friends is in the house. I was watching this show. It might have been one of them like marriage boot camp shows where the wife was saying all her husband's friends was sleeping all over their living room every day. Okay. He felt responsible for those friends. They have been his friends all his life, and he was doing well, and he wanted to share, his good fortune with his friends. I think her husband was a football player. Okay, pro football player. So he was doing very well, and he wanted to share his good fortune with his friends. So his friends were always around. They're like an extra third wheel in the marriage. Okay, so he didn't really know how to be the husband that she needed because he felt like being married, that was enough. Okay, he was there. He had pledged his heart to her, that was enough. It's not enough. Okay, we all, when we get in these marriages, we get in there for the long haul. But we have to realize that that euphoric stage when we're meeting, falling in love, enjoying each other's company, that euphoric stage, it wears off when you get to the other side of this thing we call marriage. Okay? Not that you can't rekindle it, because you can rekindle it, but it takes a conscious effort to rekindle that flame that was burning so bright when you met. Okay? It takes a conscious effort to keep that flame going, to put it back, to reignite it. You must consciously continue to do that. I hear people talk about date night, different things like that. And I think one of the points that most people miss in marriage is communication. You really don't hear each other, what each other is saying. And some people talk in parables, like they won't be direct. I need whatever it is. They'll talk in parable. They'll go all around Johnny ass pole instead of just saying what they need. A lot of times people hear what they want. This where sometimes arguments come in, because a person might say this, you think they meant this, but actually they meant something totally different. So communication is one of the very first keys, and to be considerate of what your spouse is saying and requiring. Okay, that's one of the first things, and you have to be honest about it. If your partner is communicating something to you that you disagree with, or you have a problem with, you need to let them know, and you need to talk about it in depth so you can figure out how you can address it or not. Okay, if it's not something that's harmful to you as an individual or to the marriage, it possibly could be something that you could work out. Let me give you an example. Let's go back to let's do money. Let's say when you get paid, you go to the mall every time you get paid and you spend $200 on yourself. That's your gift to yourself. Okay. And let's say your husband says, well, I don't have a problem with you treating yourself, but can you do that once a month? We could use that extra money to do so and so and such. Okay. And you've decided that, nope, I work. This is my money. Okay. You ladies know how you are. We all know how women can be. I'm a woman. Nope, I work. This is my money, and this is what I do for myself every month. I treat myself every month to this $200. I treat myself to something. I'm not doing it. Okay. So now what you heard, let me clarify it, because what you heard is this man is trying to interfere with what I want to do for me. The nerve of him to tell me I can't go spend my money on what I want after I work for it. That's what you heard. He's trying to control me. Okay. That's not what he said. He said that you can go and do that once a month so that you can use that other $200 the second time you get paid in the month to put it on something else, a bill, some food, or whatever. He's not telling you you can't treat yourself. He's asking you, can you adjust that to make a sacrifice that once a month? Now, you could go further. You could say to him, okay, I could do that, but I'm only going to do that for 6 months until we catch up on whatever it is that need to be done. Okay. That's a compromise that can be done. Okay. You could do that. Or let's say, these men, they have their issues too. So let's say your husband's one of them kind of people. He come in every day, get off work, he come in, he shower, change his clothes, get his remote, get on the couch, sit there all night while you slaving in the kitchen, trying to cook dinner for you and